The origin of Santa Claus. Welcome to our journey through time to uncover the evolution of Santa Claus, from a humble monk to the jolly figure we cherish today.
Ho, ho, ho! Scene 1. Nicholas, from boy to bishop. In the seaport of Patara, an important city in ancient Lycia, known for its significant maritime and commercial activities, a boy named Nicholas was born around March 15, 270 AD. Lycia, a melting pot of Greek and Lycian culture, was a territory in southwestern Anatolia, a region in modern-day Turkey, which integrated into the Roman Empire by the 1st century BC. The predominant language in Lycia during ancient times was Lycian, but Greek became the dominant language due to Hellenistic influences after Alexander the Great's conquests in the late 4th century BC. Therefore, Nicholas most likely spoke Greek. Nicholas came from a wealthy and devout Christian family. He became a member of the clergy at the young age of 19 when he was ordained as a priest by his uncle, who was also named Nicholas and was the bishop of Patara. Unfortunately, when Nicholas was still young, likely in his mid to late teens, his parents succumbed to a plague that swept through their region. As the sole heir, Nicholas inherited a substantial fortune. True to the Christian values instilled in him, Nicholas chose to use his wealth to help those in need. His acts of generosity involved using his inheritance to assist the poor and needy, providing food, clothing, and other necessities. He became the bishop of Myra, another important city in ancient Lycia, located near the mouth of the Andriacus River on the Mediterranean Sea, in his early 30s, and established an orphanage in Myra during his tenure as bishop, ensuring orphans were cared for and educated. Scene 2. The spread of his legend. One of the most famous charitable deeds attributed to Saint Nicholas involves his neighbor who had 3 daughters. The father, unable to afford dowries for them, faced the grim prospect of his daughters being sold into slavery or worse. According to the legend, Nicholas, moved by their plight, secretly tossed a mass of gold wrapped in a cloth into the maidens' home on 3 separate nights to ensure they could marry and avoid a life of hardship. This story was made famous by The Golden Legend, a hagiography or biography of saints, written by Jacobus de Voragine, Archbishop of Genoa, around 1265 in Genoa, Italy. As time passed, the legend of Saint Nicholas spread far and wide, championed by early Christians who revered his deeds of generosity. Despite Roman oppression, his story persisted, partly due to the early Christians' admiration for his virtues and miraculous acts, including resurrecting 3 children who had been murdered by an evil innkeeper, calming a raging tempest at sea, and safely guiding mariners to shore, and rescuing 3 falsely accused knights from a beheading. Scene 3. Transition to Santa Claus. In the 17th century, Dutch settlers brought the tradition of Santa Claus, which is a shortened form of Sint Nicolaas, Dutch for Saint Nicholas, to America when they settled in what is now New York City, then known as New Amsterdam. They brought with them the tradition of celebrating the eve of St. Nicholas Day, or the Feast of St. Nicholas, on December 5th, where children would place their shoes by the fireplace, hoping to find them filled with gifts the next morning. This tradition, along with the figure of Santa Claus himself, who was depicted as a stately figure in bishop's robes, blended with other customs in America and gradually transformed into Santa Claus. This tradition evolved in the 1823 poem A Visit from St. Nicholas, penned by Professor Clement Clarke Moore, who taught Oriental and Greek literature at the General Theological Seminary in New York City. It first appeared anonymously in the Troy Sentinel in 1823, and Moore claimed authorship about 15 years later, as he was reportedly a bit embarrassed about writing a whimsical poem, considering his academic stature. This famous poem depicted Santa as a jolly old elf with a round belly. Moore's words and the illustrations by various artists over the years shaped the Santa image we are familiar with today. Thomas Nast is widely recognized for creating the modern image of Santa Claus through his series of illustrations for Harper's Weekly, beginning in 1863. These illustrations were inspired by Santa's appearance and behavior as described in Clement Clarke Moore's poem. Nast's depiction featured a jolly, rotund figure with a long white beard, dressed in a fur-lined suit, essentially the Santa we know today. During the Civil War, Nast's depictions also served a political purpose, boosting Union morale by showing Santa supporting Union troops, often dressed in stars and stripes. Nast created illustrations of Santa visiting Union soldiers, often shown riding a reindeer-pulled sleigh over Union campgrounds and tossing presents. These depictions were among the earliest to popularize Santa in a recognizable form, blending holiday cheer with patriotic imagery before transitioning into the now classic red suit. Nast's influence on the popular image of Santa Claus extended beyond Harper's Weekly, with his Santa images being reproduced in various forms, including postcards and advertisements for products like toys, candies, and holiday goods. In Nast's 1866 illustration titled Santa Claus and His Works, he depicted Santa in a village called Santa Clausville, NP, North Pole, featuring Santa's workshop, farmyard, stables, and household pets. Nast's illustrations consistently portrayed Santa as a merry, bearded gift-giver, significantly shaping the iconic Christmas figure.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!